The Lexington Herald announces a 45.5% cut in the year 2000 quota for burley tobacco in Kentucky. "It's going to cut our production in half," said George Furnish of Cynthiana of his 100,000-pound tobacco operation. "Farmers are in trouble. I don't know if there's any way around it." It is the year 1775, and the first planting of cannabis hemp planters and black nose textably hidden protected by 40% of one. Adds to country was 1 hour. The demand for hemp and
I guess means noon now. That's why.
In 1937, Harry Anslinger, with the help of the Federal Bureau of Narcotics, passed the 1937 Marijuana Tax Act. This tax act reclassified hemp with a new name and government-issued narcotic value. The Marijuana Tax Act employed special permits for farmers that allowed them to grow industrial hemp while educating them on the evils of its narcotic sister, marijuana. In 1942, the Second World War raged in Europe and Asia. At the same time, a huge war effort was asked of the American people. The Department of Agriculture offered its hand by producing an educational film titled Hemp for Victory. Asking for a growth increase of 2,000%, this film showed Kentucky farmers raising, harvesting, and milling the hemp plant.
I was Assistant County Extension Agent here in Bourbon County. I came over just after I got out in UK in June of 1941. The assignment to Bourbon County farmers was to produce some seed so that they could produce the fiber in the following years. They asked us to try to line up at least 20 farmers that would grow an acre apiece. And we actually signed a few more than that, I think 22 or 3 along in there.
The war was going on and they needed hemp, they needed rope. And they went through the country and they contracted with people to grow hemp for the seed.
Yeah.
Now, I was a seed grower. And what we did, we signed a contract with the government to grow this for seed so they could take it out and broadcast it and, let it grow.
Yeah.
So the fiber would grow up.
In my lifetime, which started, of course, in the mid-20s, they only raised hemp for birdseed purposes up and down the valleys of the Kentucky River and some of the creek valleys because we raised some of the best hemp seed for that purpose.
Hemp was very much in demand at that time because there was rope. Every ship that was on the ocean had miles of rope on it to hang the sails up, and to do everything you did on a sailing ship was done with rope. Some of these farms around that they were people named Fields and Ripperdam on them, and they were all Dutch people, and they paid for that land for raising 3 crops of hemp. You could pay for the land by raising 3 good crops of hemp.
As the 1950s surged with an industrial and commercial boom, hemp was positioned at the wayside. With the last marijuana tax stamp issued in 1954 and the federal outlawing of reefer and its users, hemp was being replaced. The popularity of synthetic fibers, wood pulp for paper, petroleum fuels, and plastics left hemp as the last choice for a growing plastics and chemical industry. Today, Kentucky farmers are facing another drastic situation. With tobacco being cut nearly 65% in the past 2 years, Kentucky farmers need a supplemental crop.
Well, I like to see the future for my son, and I got 2 daughters as well. But some of these days they want to farm maybe, and it's going to be hard to catch a farmer. It's going to be hard to keep a farmer on a farm because, well, unless they get a good job somewhere else, But I like to see tobacco at least stay where it's at, not cut no more. And if they do take it away, and I believe they're going to, they just keep cutting us. We need a substitute, and I think hemp will be the closest thing.
Been farming for 63 years, 63 tobacco crops.
And how long has your family been in farming? Your whole family?
Almost 200 years.
Almost 200 years.
Uh-huh. What's your #1 source of income on the farm?
Tobacco.
With the tobacco cuts the way they are, what's your number one source of income?
You won't want me to tell you what it is to be to make a living, would you?
We're going to plan to try to go into some kind of a vegetable farming. We're also going to try to work into some cage-raised fish farming. Not to say that this will take the place of tobacco, but we're going to have to look into other areas to try to diversify.
Acknowledging the need for a new agricultural crop, the Kentucky Hemp Museum was founded in October of 1994.
One of the main reasons why we promote industrial hemp education is to promote diversity in agriculture. The 1995 spring poll that UK did showed that over 77% of Kentucky's population was in favor of industrial hemp legalization for a supplemental crop.
Well, hemp would be a wonderful rotation crop, and after coming from the St. Louis meeting and hearing that that actually if you use hemp first and then plant your soybeans, that it cuts down on the nematodes by 80%, I think that the soybean farmers will join me in saying we need a good rotation crop that doesn't take pesticides or herbicides, and that you can put any crop in behind it. Very good for the soil. I think it would be a boon to the farmer. Every farmer will love it.
What we need to be doing in agriculture is developing another crop so that farmers can have not only another source of income, but also another source for rotating. Now, follow me back in time and remember that the history of industrial hemp, we're standing in the center of it. I'm real passionate about this subject because I'm a 7th generation to be here. Also, the first generation of those 7th is not a hemp grower.
It was a great program, and it still is, really.
It really is.
Well, it's a lifeline to the small farmer in Kentucky.
Due to the nature of the burley tobacco cuts, it is expected that the Kentucky farmer will lose $264 million annually. House Bill 855, which called for the research and development of industrial hemp in Kentucky, failed to pass Senate legislature at the state capitol in Frankfort.
I saw the light, no more darkness, no more night. Now I'm so happy, no sorrow inside. Praise the Lord, I saw the light. I wandered so aimless, life filled with sin. I wouldn't let my dear Savior in. Then Jesus came like a stranger in the night. Praise the Lord, I saw the light. I saw the light. I saw the light, no more darkness, no more night. Now I'm so happy, no sorrow inside. Praise the Lord, I saw the light. Just like the blind man out under the street, straight is the gate and narrow the way. And like the blind man, the God gave back his sight. Praise the Lord, I saw the light. I saw the light.